One travels due south. This one here, right? About airplanes.
Yeah, number 64.
At a speed of 480 miles an hour. And the other travels due west. At a speed of 360 miles an hour.
Which number?
Number 64. How long until the distance between the two planes is 2,400 miles? So where on that picture is the distance between the two planes? Where are the planes like right now? I've sort of let maybe an hour go by.
Yeah.
It's just gone a little further than that one, of course. So how far apart are they? Where would you draw that line? So here's one plane. Here's the other plane. As seen from overhead. So how far apart are they? Where is that line that you would draw? And what shape do you make?
You would have to make a kind of a triangle shape to find
Triangle shape. Cool. I love it. Right? So it says, how long until they are 2,400 miles apart?
So we need to set
So
up
I
an
want
equation.
this distance here to be what now?
2,400.
2,400. Now what's wrong with my picture the way I've labeled it at the moment? What are all the sides
Number 1.
denoting the same idea? This is distance. This is speed. How do I make this a distance? If it's going 360 miles an hour, how long has that plane been flying for?
Divide it by
Do
2,400.
we know how long it's been flying for?
1 hour, you said.
How long has the plane been flying?
We don't know yet.
We don't know. In fact, that's the whole question. How long until they are this far apart? So how long has it been flying then?
You divide 2,400 by 360, correct?
No. How long has that plane been flying? And some of you guys are going to say, you just said we don't know, Jeff, but we're in algebra. So we know what the hell to do then. How long has that plane been flying?
360 T?
I love it. It's been flying for T hours, right? So what's the distance here? 360 T. Distance equals rate times time. So how long has it been flying? I don't know. Yes, you do. T. What about south? This dude, he's been flying for the same amount of time, right? They both left at the same time. So how far has this guy gone?
480.
480 T. And now what relates the sides of a right triangle? How do I know it's a right triangle?
Because you have two sides that are exactly the same length.
No.
Oh, one
Yeah,
90-degree angle.
90-degree angle gives
I'm
this is
sorry.
west, this is
That's
south.
what I saw.
So they're definitely at a 90-degree angle, right? So how do you relate the sides of a right triangle? What
A
relates?
squared plus B squared.
I love it.
C squared.
So this squared plus that squared equals that squared. You got big ass numbers, but you got calculators, so it doesn't matter. Right? So you set up your 360t squared plus 480t squared, right? A squared plus B squared
Equals 2,400 squared.
C squared.
Like almost like 16 or something.
Oh, and then square rooted. I think you had t squared equals 16. Square root of 16 is 4. That sounds right. I think the answer should come out to be 4. So don't be scared about the large numbers you get. Right? It's actually pretty straightforward. Once you divide by those large numbers, it comes out pretty nice.
So you just multiply 360 times 360 and then 480 times 480.
Yes, and then t squared, right? Attached to both. So it's not too bad.
Why squared?
Because what's the relationship between the sides of a triangle? Right triangle. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now that one, again, those word problems are always going to be a little bit nastier than just the nuts and bolts. If you draw the picture, you can't help but find that you make a triangle. Right? And then you know what triangles, how triangles act, how they relate, how their sides relate. Alright guys, any other questions from?
Number 30.
How you get the, why do you have the square root at the beginning?
Well, once you get, so you'll get whatever something squared, and whatever something squared, right? Some big ass number plus some big ass number equals some big ass number squared. You can combine these two blah, blah, blah. So if you solve for t squared, I think you do get 16.
Yeah, that's what I got.
But I want the time. I don't want the square of the time. So what squared is 16? 4. So 4 hours. Don't tell me it takes 16 square hours. I'm like, what the hell's that? Right? So whenever you solve one of these Pythagorean theorem problems, you're going to have to basically be in square root to get rid of one of those squares. So, and that problem is all about drawing the picture and recognizing what the variable is here. You can't relate the sides unless they all are the same idea. They have to all be distance. If you do 360 and 480, that's not right. Those are speeds. You have to make them distances. And the formula would be dirt. Distance equals rate times time. So rate times time, rate times time.
That's the problem I have with that. We weren't supposed to set that to 0 because I got like t squared minus 16 equals 0.
I love it. It's even better. And then factor.
Yeah. And then I turn it. And then I use the 4 because you really can't have
Yeah, t minus 4, t plus 4.
Yeah, and I did that. Oh, alright.
So t equals 4 or t equals negative 4. And we're saying time can't be negative.
And then I substitute, I think.
No, you're done then.
Yeah,
You got the time is 4 hours.
Oh,
And that's all you want to know is what that time is.
T can't equal 0.
T doesn't have to equal 0. Yeah. I was noticing a few people telling me an extra answer here, but that doesn't come out of anywhere. I mean, I get t equals 4 or t equals negative 4. If there was an extra t here, then t equals 0, sure. But I'm setting each piece equal to 0. I'm not setting t equal to 0. I can't.
I was going to say, if it equals 0, they wouldn't have been flying at all.
Yeah, they would have still been on the ground.
So t is equal 0, we have to put cross.
No.
Oh, no need.
If I solve an equation,
Yeah.
if I have this, how do I solve that?
X outside. Yeah. X minus 4 is 0, yeah.
Now, what do you do after you factor an equation? You set each factor. What do you do with each factor now? Either x is 0,
X minus 4.
or this is the one time you'll get x is 0. Is when there's an x there.
So we leave it, X is 0?
Yeah, it's x is 0 or x is 4. Beautiful.
Oh.
Now, but if I have this problem, how do you factor this?
X minus 2, X plus 2.
So x minus 2 is 0 or x plus 2 is 0.
Yeah.
So you get x equals 2 or x
Minus
equals negative 2. Where would you get x equals 0 from? Where would that come from?
Yeah.
You're not setting x equal to 0. You're figuring out what x must be to make it 0. So you can't just tack on at the end x equals 0. All right, so I saw a few people doing that in the homework. These are because that's where they come from what you found. You found this, that's where that answer comes from. X equals 0, there's nowhere it would come from. Here, there's somewhere it would come from, right there. Okay, so whenever you have a variable by itself, like a GCF you can take out, 0 is going to be an answer. And it only makes sense. Look at the original equation. If you make everything 0, isn't it going to be 0? And sure enough, if you make x 0, everything's 0. Everything. Here, if I make x 0, oh crap, that guy's still there. Shit, because I lost the control I had. Here I got control, here I go. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. Because it's a word problem, we're talking about lengths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to.
So cross it out. So here, this is valid answer for math. But if I'm talking about the side lengths of something, I'm obviously going to throw that out. Why? It's not that math is wrong, it's that I can't physically make something that's negative 2 feet long. So of course I throw it out. Right? Yeah.
Page 469. 469, 2B.
2B. Oh, we talked about that before. That's the one that the book had it wrong. The book put an extra x in there. So when you do 2B on section 6.1, you should be able to cancel anything. Just be careful. 2B asks you to tell me the restrictions on the variable also, right? So what are the restrictions on the variable here?
Which number?
I can see all your faces like,
2B.
Tom, which
I'm
number?
gonna get 2 weeks for spring break.
469, 2B.
What are the restrictions on the variable? Let me just,
X can't be 2.
I love it. Another way they could say that is, what's the domain of x? X is everything except 2. Why can x not be 2? You try to divide by 0, then you freak it out. Can x be 0? Yes, because 0 divided by -2 is fine. So don't say 0, 0, 0. It's the bottom can't be 0. So the bottom can't be 0. And I love that part. When what you say in English is exactly what you write in math. The bottom, wait, can't be 0. Solve. X can't be 2. Bam.
Why? X can be,
Because what can you not divide by? What can you not divide
Well,
by?
in this case, it's 2.
0. You can't divide by 0, so the bottom can't be 0. If x is 2, what do you get on the bottom there? If x is 2, you get 2 over 2 minus 2. Undefined. That's why you have to throw it out. That's why you say the domain is everything except this. You're not allowed to use this because you'll freak this poor dude out. Once you start throwing variables into situations, you're going to have places where you can't use certain values of the variable because then it's going to freak out the function you got. So here you just can't use 2. What about here? This was relatively easy. You can actually just look at it. You have to do this work here at all. You can just say x can't be 2. Why is that one not as easy? You have to factor it first. Just like we did, it's really one of these problems, isn't it? Because it's all about what's going to make that bottom 0. So if you factor the bottom, what do you get? I'll do this part.
10 and 5.
10 and 5, which one's positive?
The
bigger one. To make that positive in the middle. So x can't be what? 5 or -10. I love it. Right? And again, some of you guys, I think, don't really understand why those change sign. But what am I really doing? X plus 10 can't be 0. Or x minus 5 can't be 0, right? If I solve those, I get my -10. And I get my positive 5. A positive 5 would make that 0, and -10 would make that 0. I can't let that happen, so I just tell people, here's my function, just don't try these guys. Right? That's what I'm telling people. I'm saying, don't try those guys, I'm going to freak the hell out of this thing. That's all that is. It's that simple.
can be 9 minus 10 also.
Sure. Now, this could be, what are you talking about? It could be, this just can't be 5, right? But it could be 4.999999. Sure. Just can't be 5.
It's,
Yeah. Don't you would please.
Yes, ma'am.
what am I doing?
Page 469.
I'm spacing out.
Number 6.
I'm spacing out.
469.
Number
Number 6.
6. Oh, this is the one. Read the directions on these because it'll save you from doing unnecessary work. This one's got this here. So a lot of you guys did a lot of work on this. We actually already kind of answered this question. All it says is what is the domain? What it's the domain. So what x can I not use? What x can I not use? I can't use 2. X can't be plus.
Excuse me, thank you.
So you can say this, or you can say all real numbers except 2.